Alrighty then. We should be connected on all streams. You live?
I'm live.
All right, all right, all right. Happy Friday, everybody. If you're new here, this is the Takeoff. If you're not new and you're joining us as you do for every Friday, my name is Tia of Tia Takes the World. Braylon, tell them who you are.
Good afternoon, good morning. Hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Branlin D. Mosby of Never Unpacked. I'm super excited to be here with my co-host Tia. But yeah, I'm Branlin Never Unpacked. I also won the Modern Day Muse account as well, following all things with travel.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the show today. We have a really exciting topic. We can't wait to dive into it with you today, but we love to talk, give you a little motivation before we dive all the way in. Brian, hook up the people with some motivation today.
All right. So today we like to start off with a quote, then we move into a few other things. But today's topic, our motivational quote is travel isn't just about going somewhere. It's about reclaiming our freedom and our joy. So
Mhm.
I love that for us. Some people travel for all types of different reasons, whether it's like health issues or just for the fun of travel or for business. But I do think when you start to set foot in other destinations and other places, it's super excited about, reclaiming that freedom, reclaiming that joy, owning what's yours in travel. Almost a drastic difference from what we were talking about last week as far as difficulties in travel, but
Ooh.
finding that happiness and finding that freedom. What are your thoughts, Tia?
Um, I love this quote. I love all of the motivational quotes. We are very intentional when we pick them. And I love this one because it just kind of goes into that travel is just deeper than jumping on a flight. Like it can mean so much more. It could be jumping on a flight, just to relieve some stress. It could be jumping on a flight because that's just what you like to do. You like to reach high altitudes. But travel can be so much more than that. And reclaiming that freedom and that joy that comes from traveling, whether it be the privilege of traveling or tapping into if you're a foodie or if you love to meet new people. I just love how travel transcends in so many different ways. And that quote really speaks to that for me. So, y'all that are tuning in live or if you're catching a replay, drop down in the comments and tell us what travel means to you and what you felt from that motivational quote today that is tied into travel. But what we're going to do is go ahead and move right on along into our topic for today. Y'all, I'm really excited about this topic. Don't ask me why. I think it just hits some deep chords for me today. I love talking all things travel, obviously. That's why we have this travel show. We both love it. But today's topic is the rise of revenge travel. You ready to get into it, Brian?
Absolutely.
All right.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So basically, what revenge travel is the term that refers to people catching up on missed trips. So you thinking about making up from lost time from COVID. We just went through a pandemic where we had to sit our butts down. Okay. We had to sit down at the house. Most of us were locked indoors. For those of us who were living abroad, I know Brendan and I living in the UAE during COVID, we were on, like, some people were on lockdown. No, we were on lockdown. Do you remember that buzzing noise that used to go on our phones every
It
night at 8 o'clock?
was. It's like the Amber Alerts that happened in the US. Like that was like
Yeah,
our signal to
Amber
be.
Alert or what's that movie? The Purge. It was just like the Purge every
Never
night at eight
watched the Purge, but I am familiar with Amber Alert.
o'clock. Another topic for another day. But we would get these loud ringing blares that would go off to tell us that we had to be in the house, just all to say that we were locked down for real. So you can only imagine if we had these alerts going on and everybody around the world had to be locked down, it was no traveling. All right. And revenge travel even goes outside of that, outside of COVID. Some people are revenge traveling because of breakups from your work life, not allowing you to travel. It's sort of a glow up. That's what we're going to talk about it, because I feel like sometimes the word revenge gets a negative connotation, but I love what people have turned it into. You think about revenge bodies. Like I said, the revenge glow up. It's kind of like you're getting a one up where you've been let down in life. And I love how we're plugging into that with travel. And, I know during COVID, my passport was hurt. It was hurt real bad. And I couldn't wait to get my lick back and glow up. What are your thoughts on revenge travel and the rise that we've seen it take?
I don't think I've ever thought about it to be revenge travel. I just felt like I missed out on some travel and now I'm coming back. But to the definition that you gave, that's pretty much what it is. Like, I've definitely never traveled for revenge for a breakup or anything like that. Listen, we in the streets, whether we together or not. Okay.
You coming with me or no?
I ain't traveling just because we broke up, honey. You need to be traveling with me because we together. Like,
Ooh, come on, girl.
Okay. So yeah, but I'm intrigued by the topic of revenge travel. Super excited to even like kind of discuss the elements of it, because while I didn't see it like that, I also recognize pieces of me that is on like this comeback status of where I once was in travel. And I'm pretty sure we'll get into the details of that today.
Absolutely, for sure. So I kind of want to get into some stats. According to McKinsey and Company, which is a global management company, they projected that travel, well, they had the stats that travel had a 75% decline during COVID, and that it should just now fully be recovering in 2024. And I found that to be so crazy. I mean, yes, I know everybody was shut down, but it declined by 75% because of this shutdown. That's wild to me. In our lifetimes, we've seen a lot. Like, we went through Y2K when we thought that the world literally was going to shut down. Like, they said it was going to be over for us. Okay, who was in church during Y2K? I was down at the church. I was there. You remember where you were? Oh, you was at home. You was just waiting on it to come.
Yeah, we were like, we'll spend these last moments together.
True enough, fair enough. Fair enough, but we've gone through a lot. We've seen our first Black president. We've gone through just so many changes in our lifetimes. I mean, just technology alone we've seen a lot. I think we've seen a lot, and we're very young, okay? We're very young, I like to think. But thinking about those things that we've gone through, 75% decline, that was my first pandemic. Have you ever witnessed a pandemic in your lifetime?
No, because I think what was the one before that? It was long
long time, 2000s, well, 1999, I guess. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot that's happened, but nothing to this magnitude. So I definitely was surprised at those stats and the fact that it's taken 4 years to fully recover from that. But I am guilty of being one of those people who's helping travel to recover, and I'm actually not upset about that. And I also looked into, with these stats, reasons why revenge travel is on the rise, and some of those things were pent up demand. Like, people are like, I couldn't travel then. Oh, baby, I'm traveling now, for whatever reason, whatever that reason is. A shift in priorities. So your priority might not have been to travel before, but now that you've been stuck in the house, now that somebody told you that you couldn't go somewhere, priorities are shifting. I want to see the world. I want to see what I might have been missing. And then a psychological impact. And I think that kind of also goes along with what I just said with the shift in priorities. Psychologically, because you were stuck in the house, now it's like, let me get up out of here. Like, I gotta go. I gotta go quick. So it was just very interesting looking at those stats. And I'm just wondering, like, Berlin, what was the first place that you traveled to or wanted to go after COVID? Like, what was
that? One thing I want to double back to is you said that people were traveling because of what they've been missing. I think we heard people pre-COVID just say, oh, these are my dream destinations. I'll go there one day. And I think with this idea or concept that we could die, people were dying, like, the circle was tight, right? Like, we know of somebody, or we are that person that was extremely sick during COVID times. And I think that gave, to your point of revenge travel, I think that gave us an awakening of like, I need to do it. I need to not just have a bucket list or a wish list. I need to make my list a live choice. Like, I need to go see the world. But to answer your question, as far as where I went immediately after COVID, we were abroad at the time. And so the world shut down. People asked us about coming home. Were we going to come home? And to be honest, I just kind of felt like America just was not safe. You're talking about the buzzing of the phones and everything like that. But the first place I actually went right after in the year of 2020, I went home. So that
Mm.
December, I hopped a flight and did all the precautions. I felt like I walked through all the sprays and the spritz through airports, mask
Mm-hmm.
on. It was a totally different and feel in traveling, especially for like 18 hours. But my first trip was home. After that, like travel for real, like a new stamp, a new place, a new destination. I didn't travel again until November 2021, and I went to the country of Georgia, to Tbilisi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So that was 2020 or the beginning of 2021 when you first traveled, when you went home.
End of 2020. So
Okay.
COVID happened the top of 2020. I canceled all of my trips. I had this 4 country spring break situation
Mhm.
um, lined up. I canceled all of that, canceled my summer plans. And then 2020, December of 2020, I went home for Christmas and my birthday. They were allowing us to go in and out of the country.
Mhm.
Um, and then the following year, November of 2021, is not until that's like the new destination.
Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. All right. Oh, Georgia, I love that because surprisingly, well, I guess it's not surprising because around here we kind of like see where other people are going and kind of bounce ideas and are like, oh, that place looked cool. Maybe I'll try it as well. But my first place traveling after COVID was Georgia, also. I'm trying to think why I didn't go home. I feel like my first stop was to go home. Did not happen the way I planned. That goes back to our conversation last week. Check out that episode if you were not tuned in live. I did not make it home, and that's okay. Life happens, life lessons were learned through travel. But the next place that I went or attempted to go and was successful at was also Georgia. And it was a great trip. I actually went to Georgia and Armenia. I hit up 2 different countries at one time, and it was an experience. Getting on a plane, going through the airport, it was so many different anxieties that were going on within me, whether it was from now I'm traveling with the mask on. You have to have this mask. And you think about it, like that's something that's kind of small now, but like having that mask on throughout that whole entire flight was different. Seeing, like you said, the spraying down of things and everything was so different. The world of travel is so crazy how it was different like that. 2020, 2021, 2022. And
Mhm.
now it's kind of just reverted back in some ways. I just traveled, I think last weekend, and I was just like, nobody has on a mask. What are we doing here? What is going on? And somebody asked me that I was traveling with was like, are you getting a cold or something? I'm like, no, but I'm trying not to. That would be great. So it's just so crazy how everything has changed within that time. But yeah, my first trip also was to Georgia and I enjoyed it a lot. And my next question to you was going to be, but you've already answered this, was have you ever revenge traveled outside of COVID? But your answer was no. And I know you said not like because of a breakup or anything, but I do have an instance where I revenge traveled and it wasn't from a breakup either. I'm like you, baby, you coming or not? You better be happy that we are here together, okay? But
Yeah.
I wonder if any of you all have ever revenge traveled in any type of way, and mine was actually from work. Like I worked for first of all, this is where this came from, this part of this topic. I feel like Drake referenced this in his song Hotline Bling when he said, ever since I left the city, you know exactly what you asked for.
Mhm.
Running out of pages in your passport. Hanging with them girls I never see before. I feel like she was on her revenge tour. Now, granted, I didn't do that for a breakup, but I worked at this job, y'all. My boss was crazy. All right. We used to, well, we get when we were working in abroad, 15 days, sick days. You get 15 sick days, and that's a great package from what I'm learning from people working all over. We were really blessed for that. 15 sick days to use however you want, or at least that's what it was supposed to be. I would try to use a sick day, and my boss would call me, well, what's wrong with you? You don't feel good enough to come in. You don't think you can work through that. Like he would make me feel so bad about taking a day for being sick. It was some days I mentally did not feel like going in because we're in education and it's hard. Sometimes you just be mentally drained. And I just did not, I wanted to use my sick days. All of that to say, I ended up getting my lick back. When I realized that I wanted to have my contract come to an end, I was like, you know what? I'm using every single last one of these sick days. And actually, I'm not going to use them. I'm for sickness. I'm going to use them for wellness. I'm going to travel when I use these sick days. And that's exactly what I did. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is my lick back. This is a revenge travel. And I enjoyed those trips so much. I feel like they say that the sweetest revenge isn't a dish best served cold. No,
Mm-hmm.
baby. Revenge is best served on a plane, on an island somewhere, taking a trip. So back to my question: have you ever revenge traveled? Maybe not like in a relationship, but any other way. And if not, that's okay. All of y'all out there, y'all put in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah. I don't think revenge travel has been my thing for like people.
Mm,
Um, but I do feel like COVID stole something from me. I
real
feel
bad.
like the whole entire world changed when that pandemic rolled through here.
Mm-hmm,
Um, we were grounded in a totally different way.
mm-hmm,
And for me, like, so COVID hits in 2020. 2019, I literally flew around the world like that summer.
mm-hmm.
Um, I started in the UAE. I flew to Japan. I went from Japan, visited my good Aggie friends in Hawaii. From Hawaii, I went to Vegas for a bachelorette party. From the bachelorette party in 2019, I went to North Carolina and then North Carolina back to the UAE. So legitimately, I flew completely around the world. The world is not flat, it is round, and I flew around it.
Mm-hmm,
Um, so when you talk about that was how many different destinations, 4 or 5 within a couple of weeks, right?
mm-hmm.
And then I think I came back home. I had 2 weddings home that year. I went to see the Aggies in Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. I also went to Paris that year on my way back home.
You
Like
was out.
I was moving in 2019, and then you're talking
You was
about
reclaiming your
2020,
time.
huh?
You was reclaiming your time or your trips in this case.
And that was just 2019. And then,
Mm-hmm,
in 2020, the pandemic hits, and we just talked about when was the last time we traveled from COVID. So for 2020, I didn't go anywhere but home.
mm-hmm,
One time that year, like because
mm-hmm,
the pandemic really shut us down for those first 6 months.
mm-hmm.
We had so many regulations and travel and all these things, and everybody wasn't letting you in through their borders. And then 2021, I don't travel again until the following November. So coming off an average of hopping on a plane 10 to 15 times a year, and I mean I'm talking round trip hops, not each
Mm-hmm.
leg, but 10 to 15 times a year. Like, oh no, you travel owes me something in this moment. Travel owes me something. And for me, that is the revenge. Just like we got a holiday coming up, celebration some things and getting some time off. And I'm like, where am I going? I've literally been like, I must go somewhere. This is the first year I feel like I'm back to life. Like I feel like we back to reality of what travel really looks like for us. So revenge for me has not been a person, but
Mm-hmm.
that prize, oh, you can get these hands, okay? You
Or
took
you can get this passport. How about that?
listen, passport me up, okay?
Okay, I'm not
Tat
mad at
it up.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Whatever, fits the bill to get you traveling, I love it. So revenge for a person or for COVID, whichever one, as long as it got us on those flights, I'm not mad at it. But I want to move into this appeal of these big and bold trips. Like you said, you hadn't traveled and things. So from COVID or a situation that you even have, since we're talking in a general sense of revenge travel, is kind of making you want to take these dream trips. Like I think you mentioned before, like basically having FOMO. And some of the reasons and the responses for revenge travel were that pent up demand or that shift in priorities and that psychological impact, which is coming from not being able to do stuff. So
Right.
I'm just wanting to talk about why people opted for those dream trips instead of the weekend getaways and the bucket list destinations. Now they're going for luxury travel and exotic experience and things. And I kind of want to talk about what tips we can give, especially as travel professionals, because this is what we do. What tips we can give and insights to people for making a big trip manageable, whether it's on a budget or whether you're going big, and how you can plan those once in a lifetime experiences without overspending. So, B, what you got on that?
Well, the first thing I would say before we get into the tips, like, people are afraid of missing out on life. Like, death literally flashed before our eyes, literally and figuratively, we were seeing it, right? So people want to explore the world. I feel like social media is in a totally different place than it was 4 or 5 years ago, especially 10 years ago. So like, you're seeing travel firsthand and people are making it glamorous. Like, oh yeah, I went to Bali, I stayed in a treehouse, it was $20. Like, people are understanding like the idea of money can stretch farther. But let's get into these tips. Like, as far as tips for making the big trip manageable, even on a budget, one of the things we pointed out is plan far in advance. You want to go big places, you want to do big things, and sometimes those take big plans. And when you're planning far in advance, I think you start to look at some of the costs that come along with that, deals that are available when you are the early bird who catches the worm, right? What else do you have on planning far in advance?
My tip outside of that, I think planning in advance is great because you can get those payment plans and stuff. So that was a great one. But I also think being flexible with your travel dates is something that people should definitely do. I think sometimes we get like kind of hankered down with, oh, my birthday is October 20th, so I have to be in this country on that date. No, baby, if October 20th is like high season for whatever place you want to go to, then maybe you should go a few weeks before or a few weeks after. Go in the low season, especially if you're not trying to spend all your coins. I like to keep
I tag into that? Can I tag into that? Yeah, can I tag into that statement?
Tag in, girl.
Listen, so my birthday is December 30th, which is 5 days after Christmas. It sucks in the sense that I am a holiday baby and people want to be with their families for the holiday. People who are traveling in from town, they don't want to come for Christmas for 3 days and then try to pack up their life and meet me for a trip. So for one of my upcoming big birthdays, to your point of being flexible with my dates, I'm actually planning to travel on my half birthday instead of my actual birthday. So I'm trying to, instead of that December, it'll be like that next June or July. So for travel, but I agree with that. That's like a really good idea. And this is just an example of thinking outside of the box and to add into what Tia is saying about being flexible with your travel date.
And you know what? She does it all the time. She is so flexible, even because her birthday falls in that. Ooh, y'all don't understand that holiday birthday. Let me tell you. But she even
goes like, I celebrate with you, girl. I'm like, dang.
It's hard. You right there after Christmas and right before New Year's. You would think that would be the best time, but I'm sure it's so hard to manage. And I get to live it firsthand. We've said this before on the show. Her and my husband shared the same birthday, so it's like, what do we do? But being flexible for those things, to her point, is it's helpful for you. It's helpful for you in these situations. That goes for anniversaries, like she said, birthdays, any big event. Just being flexible to that time, whether you have to offset it by a couple of days, weeks, whatever. I was gonna say she even celebrates her birthday in January, sometime a little bit later in January, which helps.
It took me a minute to get there, people. I was very adamant about not celebrating in January because that is the next year, and that is no longer my birthday year. But
I mean, it's still you're still the year that you are. I'm just saying. But outside of being flexible with your travel dates, another one that I have is choosing budget-friendly destinations. Even if you're choosing the budget-friendly destination, like Brentland had mentioned about Bali, getting in those $20 luxury hut houses. Like, people know Bali for budgets, but people think of like Dubai for luxury and things. Sometimes you have to kind of not even change your destination that you want to do, but kind of change that destination. So when I say that, when people travel to the UAE, I know I have clients and things that want to come here and they're like, well, we definitely want a budget. So I'll say, okay, you might not be able to stay in downtown Dubai. I put you in Al Barsha. Still nice, still in Dubai, but it's half the cost. I used to stay in Al Barsha all the time when I moved to UAE. That was my spot. I'm just saying. So maybe not necessarily changing the specific destination, but instead of staying on an island, you stay off outside the city a little bit more. So just changing things like that to budget a little bit more. You got something on that one, Brand? Or
I talk to people all the time about, and I think because I travel so frequently across state lines and country lines, I try to find more ways to save money. I talk to people. One thing that we find in U.S. based travelers is connecting one of the other points. Because their dates are not flexible, like they tend to travel at Christmas, during summer break. They're always traveling during peak season. You tend to, what is typically budget friendly in an off season context is now expensive during peak season. But additionally, for whatever reason, because you're not traveling as frequently, you have this thought in mind that you should break the bank every time you travel. And, I do believe in a unique stay and a unique experience and a unique opportunity. Sometimes they're cheap. Sometimes they're $25 and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're a glass igloo in Finland. And I usually don't tell people how much it costs. But if you're interested and you're serious about it, we can discuss a little more about the expectations of the cost. Right. But budget-friendly destinations also align with peak season and off-peak season and shoulder season type of things. And maybe we'll give you guys more information on those in a future episode, because that does make the difference. And just because you're only traveling once or twice a year, that does not mean you got to spend it all on that one trip. People talk about coming to Dubai. I have a homeboy that wants to come to Dubai. Baby, he wants to sit in first class. Sir, economy plus, maybe. But no, you want to drop a few grand in the pods in first class. You want to be up there with the bar on the second floor. And I'm not saying it's not an amazing experience, but baby, stretch that money.
Listen, as much as you can. I'm totally for stretching the money too. And like you said, and to that point, also like making sure that you're opting for whether it be affordable accommodation or even the flight, like maybe to Dubai. Now, I will say that Emirates flight, from what I hear, I've never flown Emirates first of all at all, but what I see with the pictures and videos, it looks pretty nice. And if you got the grands to spend, hey, do you, boo-boo. I'm not gonna say don't do it, because for a 16-hour flight, and I'm saying all that to say, make it make sense at the very least. If you're opting for affordable accommodation or flights in this sense, if it's a 16-hour flight, okay. If it costs a couple of grand to fly business class, you can write it off on your taxes because it's business. Okay, that makes sense. But if you are flying 3 hours domestically or internationally, if you're going from the States to Mexico, DR, somewhere like that, and you paying thousands of dollars for business class, make it make sense, because now you're putting all of your money into one pot for a 3-hour flight. Like it just has to make sense. And even with that, for the affordable accommodation, if you're going on a 3-day weekend trip and you trying to ball out and spend $10,000 on a stay, if that's your judge, this conversation is not for you. You people out there know who it's for. All right, this is for the people that it's for.
We're not telling you to be cheap.
No, absolutely. Cheap and affordable are two different things. Cheap, affordable, and budgets. All right, we're looking at budgets, staying affordable, and manageable trips. All right, so do what's in your tax bracket and what's in your wallet. Okay, but these are tips for those people who are trying to make manageable big trips happen. All right, so opting for that affordable accommodation is definitely something else. Do you have any more tips for the people, Brand, for making those big trips manageable?
The last one I think we were going to cover is budget for experiences and not things. I wholeheartedly agree with this. I love a unique opportunity. I love experiences. Culture, food, adventure are like my 3 pillars in travel. So I think it's important that you budget for experiences. There's a couple of things I've done that I've been like, oh, this is way more than I thought I wanted to pay for this particular activity. But it turns out to be so dynamic and amazing. Like, even for example, the hot air balloon ride in Cappadocia in Turkey was so expensive to me. And what I call expensive, other travelers will not. I'll be like, it's like $200. I'm like, $200.
$200? $20?
But to your point, create your budget so that you can have these wonderful experiences and capture the moment and and have good stories to tell about it. It's one of the most dynamic things I've ever done on a trip. As far as not things, what is the lens for not things in your mind? Like when we say budget experience and not things, what is the lens behind not things?
I honestly think it depends on you. So, like you said, you like experiences. I also like experiences, but some people's experiences, and I've just noticed because I went down a little social media wormhole, some people's things, I mean, experiences are going on these shopping experiences, like going to Paris and going down what would be like Fashion Way and going to the different shops and things. That's their experiences. So when you say not things, obviously that's not the thing for them. For me, things is miscellaneous things. Feeling like you have to. So for me, feeling like I have to buy souvenirs for everybody every time I go on a trip.
Oh, I stopped that a long time ago.
Uh-uh. Absolutely
No,
not. Not doing it. I am
that's
here for my experience, and your experience is going to be living through me on the videos that I post. It's going to have to be.
very
Or
much
you can
so.
get a postcard because that's kind of cheap, but then I got to find a post office to.
Well, you know that's
Those
my
are
thing.
things for me.
That's
Those
a
are
thing
things for
for
me.
me.
But I mean, that's cute and it's affordable and it's kind of an experience in itself. But for me, things are things that don't heighten your travel experience. So for
Mhm,
me, buying you a shot glass is not heightening my experience. Number one, I
mhm.
have to wrap that thing up and make sure it doesn't get broken on the way back. Going to Starbucks to get you a coffee mug, that's not an experience for me. Even for myself, I used to keep shot glasses from everywhere that I went. What's the experience in that? The drink gonna drink the same, whether it says from Amsterdam, Turkey, or whether it's in a little red solo cup.
Oh, I
Okay,
have
it's gonna be
people
the same.
trinkets.
The drink gonna
I
drink the
have
same.
trinkets
So
too, yeah.
I'd rather save that money and again the fragileness that's gonna happen in the bag because I've also had some stuff break and shatter and moving. I'd rather not have to worry about that and spend that money towards something else, whether it be a foodie experience or an excursion or something like that. So in your lens, what does the things mean? And we already know the experience is your thing, but what do things mean for you?
Um, I guess I kind of took it like I have a problem with purchasing items before I travel, and I feel like I always end up spending more money pre-travel than do I do during travel. Like why do I have to have an Amazon haul every single time I get ready to go on a trip? Why do I have to have a Sheen haul? I have tons of clothes. I don't do I really need a new outfit? I do. I say to myself, I do. So when we start talking about like not things, I'm always thinking about the little gadget that I bought specifically for this one little trip. And I mean, and some of them are cool gadgets, like I got this new little army little leggy tripody thing that wraps around poles, and it was amazing for this last trip home and homecoming and things of that nature. But I do think of this idea that like I just spend a lot of money pre-trip that sometimes I just don't need to be spending. But I'm guilty of the trinkets. I do not do souvenirs. I've come to the point in life. You probably know that I'm going somewhere. You need to come and buy your own souvenir and your own trinket. You can get on the plane with me. You can come get your own shot glass. You can come get your own little magnet, your own little thing from wherever I am from. Now, Georgie, that's my mama, y'all. She gets a little something
Hey,
every
Miss
time I go somewhere.
Georgie.
She don't she doesn't have the ability to travel like we do. So I do bring her little things back. But everybody else, honey, y'all are on your own. But my things, it's the Amazon haul for me. It's the Sheen haul for me. It's the I don't know. I need snacks and food all of a sudden for the airport haul kind of thing. So it's like I need a new suitcase every single time I travel. I somehow end up buying a type of bag of sorts, a purse, a carry-on, a foldable down bag to go. And I have tons of bags, y'all. I don't need any more. I don't.
Okay, I get that. I get that. I'm guilty of it as well. So those things also that is in the scope of things. So just thinking of what you don't necessarily need, whether before the trip, during the trip, or even after the trip. Because
Right.
buying all those frames for those pictures that you took, are you really gonna hang them? Are you really gonna? that ain't my business, but you know what your business is, and your business should be, if you're on this call, is to travel more. So that's just what we're trying to get you to do. And those are just some tips for the appeal of the big and bold trips that you want to take. And we'll wrap that back up for you in case you missed any. But just moving right along in the vein of revenge travel, which is the topic for today, I kind of want to talk about what revenge travel means for the travel industry and how you can maximize that wave. So, one of the things that I kind of want to hit is how you can kind of navigate as a consumer and as someone who wants to travel more, how you can navigate this revenge travel, the thought of revenge travel, whether it's revenge travel from COVID, getting your lick back on it, making sure that you fill that passport up, or whether you are trying to revenge travel on a relationship, a lifestyle change, a mindset change, whatever that may be. I think that you as a consumer can definitely move into the space of capitalizing, because now there are so many unbeatable travel packages. Like I mentioned at the top of this show, there was a 75% decline in travel from COVID-19, which means that all of these industries are trying to get you back. And they're just now recovering at the end of 2024. So you can tap into so many travel deals and packages that it's honestly insane. And I mean, coming from travel professionals, we have a different lens that we can look at that honestly taps you into different packages that you might not get as a regular consumer. Check either one of us out if you're looking to book a trip, just shameless plug there. But even just as a regular consumer, there are so many different companies and businesses and suppliers that are trying to get you back into travel because they lost so much during COVID. Capitalize on that. If you're trying to take that big trip that we were just talking about, that manageable trip, tap into what the industry is trying to give you. What's your thoughts on that, B?
Travel packages are definitely a thing. Being able to access a travel agent who has access to travel packages is even a cooler thing. Being in the mindset of packaging your own things. If you are this DIY traveler and you want to go onto all of these online sites, keep in mind they actually offer deals and packages, and sometimes it's a bit cheaper to couple your flight with a hotel and or a car rental, and they put those things together for you. Now, the beautiful part about accessing a travel agent or being a travel agent who has access, because those are two different things, accessing a travel agent or being a person who has access to travel, right? So you'll be able to see the different opportunities in wide ranges of places, and now you have firsthand of how you can manipulate that for you. And sometimes just be mindful that trips and destinations look different on different devices. So when we're talking about unbeatable travel packages, there's some online bookable travel that has deals via their mobile app because they want to drive traffic through their mobile app. However, you'll go online on a desktop, on a computer. And I know some of you like to book your travel on a computer just because the screen is bigger and you can see more. It helps to check out the double check to see if it's on the mobile device, because there is price differences sometimes and opportunities that are not popping up on your desktop that do pop up on your mobile device. So all of that is in the same vein of unbeatable travel packages. But trust and believe, as travel professionals, I like when you said that, travel professionals, we have access to a larger range of wholesale items than most people would actually see. So whether you are accessing the travel agent or you decide to become a travel agent, that also changes the game and how you travel and what you have access to, and the people close to you, what they have access to as well. So yeah.
Well, that's good that you said that, B. I actually love that you mentioned about the things that we do have access to, and the fact that you mentioned, those people who are DIYers, because although we're talking about people who want to travel more and get access to the things that we have access to, yeah, you can definitely book a travel agent to tap into their resources. But for those people who were like me and you before we became travel professionals, some people just want to do it themselves. And this is the best time for people who love to do travel yourself, because you have more business. You have more business because people do want to travel, because people are revenge traveling, because people are trying to take those big trips and figure out how to manage them. You should tap into that. You know, if you are already building trips up, whether it be for yourself, your family, or your friends, and you are doing it for fun and for free. Now, granted, you think that because you hopped on a mobile app, like B said, and got those mobile app deals, imagine how much more you can get if you accessed it as a travel professional. We've talked about on previous episodes, I believe it was episode 2. If you missed that, make sure that you check it on either of our platforms. Check the replay. But we talked about how we've seen both sides of it as consumers, because before both of us became travel professionals, we knew how to do it on our own. We knew
We
how to
did.
get the best deals. We were on the mobile apps. We were these top tier members with these third party apps, and we were getting the best deals until we became travel professionals and realized that we actually weren't. We actually were missing out on so much more. Not only were we missing out on like discounts that you can get by being a travel professional, but we were also missing out on the best part, which was getting a commission. That's what I
Fact.
found to be one of the best parts. Like, I'm
Yeah.
already doing the work, I'm putting this in anyways. I'm already spending hours looking for the right hotel for that affordable accommodation. I'm already spending hours flexing my dates to see what the best time is. I'm also on these different supplier websites and third party vendors trying to see which one is the best one. But now I'm looking at it through a different lens, and I'm spending not less time actually looking up stuff. And now I'm getting paid for the time that I spent booking a trip that I was going to book anyways, whether it be for myself or someone else. That was the best part for me. And
Right.
one of the stats, I've been telling y'all stats all show, but one of the stats that I read was that just in 2024, travel has an anticipated spending by the end of this year of $8.6 trillion. That means people are spending money on travel, whether it's spending money through an agent already or spending money as a DIYer. Imagine if the money that you're spending during travel, you can be getting back in commissions. Go ahead, B. What did you have on that?
It was a few clicks back. I kind of at this point kind of lost it, but so you can go ahead with the 8.6 trillion. I mean that's a lot. That's definitely a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I think that it's better to get in on it, whether you are spending as a consumer and making sure that you're tapping into travel, and like I said, getting the best that your travel agent could give you. Or if you're doing it as a travel professional, I just really think that there's so much to gain in this environment of everybody trying to get their lick back and travel more. So yeah.
That's good stuff. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna move into our celebration. So that was good information regarding like what to do with revenge travel. We've given you some tips. But one of the favorite segments that we have of the show is just kind of celebrating everything that we got going. I'll go ahead and kick off celebrations. So I'm super excited about like as I'm building the business, I find ways to touch and develop the business in different ways. Especially even when we're traveling and we're on vacation, it's like, how can I pour more into the foundational structure of the business? So what I wanted to celebrate is when I went home, I was super excited to do a brand photo shoot. And I needed new pictures. I needed new headshots. I needed some things that related to travel. I think it's important to make sure that when you're starting a business, you're pouring into those foundational pieces. So I just wanted to shout out my experience with a branding photographer in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was with Still Shots Photography _ North NC. That is her IG handle. Ashley Crawley was an amazing experience that I had. I was able to go in. I think I did about 4 or 5 looks. Now I was moving in my changing. Shout out to my modeling days back at North Carolina A&T and being able to do a quick outfit change. But it was such a beautiful experience. Things I want to shout out about the branding shoot that I had in Greensboro with her and anybody looking into doing branding photo shoots. One thing that I absolutely loved is that her space was so versatile. So I was able to do lifestyle photos. I was able to do the headshot on a background. I was able to do some quirky little things that she had in her studio. She has exposed brick. She has background. She has desk setups. She has some selfie stations. It was even fun to learn that those of you that are influencers in the area, she also offers this opportunity for you to come in and do like these background shots. But I just wanted to shout out another growing business on our channel, because businesses, we are in travel professionals, and we are looking in these spaces where we are business to business models, right? So we have to hire other businesses to kind of support our development and growth process. And I'm super excited about what I can do and utilize for the photos for. They were so amazing. I had so many to choose from, which was like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to, I wanted the whole pack. Like, can I get all of it? I can't wait. Literally, I'm already planning my hair the next time I go home, because I want a little different hair the next time. So I'm looking forward to doing some more updated shots with her the next time I visit the area of Greensboro, North Carolina. Please check out my girl, Ashley Crawley, at Still Shots Photography _NC on Instagram.
I can't wait to see your photos, Bran. I know that you already talked about how excited you were, so I'm really excited to see those on your brand. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Welcome, girl.
What's
Well,
up for us?
mine for the week is just work opportunities that have been arising. And honestly, being in the travel world, it's always kind of up and down. Well, before it was kind of up and down with, being a content creator, influencer, whatever. But since I have become a travel professional, I have seen such a more consistent flow of the work that's been coming in. And I'm just really excited and proud of the work that I've been able to do through travel. I recently was connected with a big brand that's here in the UAE. Shout out to Visit Dubai. They got with me after I had started putting up some more consistent content that was sparked because I'm a travel professional now. And we have been able to really work together and collaborate. And I'm really excited about the work that we're going to be able to do. Also, I was able to connect with one of our suppliers. And when we say suppliers, these are just terms that we talk about when we are referring to the companies that give us these unbeatable deals that we talk about, those packages that we're able to put together for our clients. I was actually able to have a meeting with one of the suppliers that I really love and kind of talk about some collaboration ideas for that as well. And that never would have happened. I never would have even known about this supplier if I wasn't a travel professional. So just being able to do those things is going to open up some doors for not only myself, but some other people that are travel professionals as well. And I'm hoping to be able to amplify not only myself and my brand, but other people's brand, our brand with the Takeoff. And I just can't wait to see what's in store. And I'm just really proud of that. So celebrating that.
Yes. All right. Well, that takes us into our recap for today. Tia, go ahead and shell it on back for us. This idea of revenge travel, what it is, and some key points that we talked about this week on the episode.
For sure. So if you're just catching up to the live, don't worry, you can go back. This will be live on both of our YouTube pages and our Facebook, so you can check it out. But again, as Brandon said, we talked about revenge travel, which is on the rise. We talked about how you can tap into revenge travel, which whatever that may mean for you, by early planning and setting up price alerts. So make sure that you get into that. If you want to travel on a specific date, being a little bit more flexible or traveling during off seasons will help to keep money in your pocket instead of shelling it out. Also, using a travel agent if you want a hassle-free trip. If you just want to do like people say and just send somebody the bill and they do all of it for you, tap into using a travel professional. Budget for meaningful experiences and not things, whatever things are to you. And then you can also turn your passion into a profit by becoming a travel professional like Brandlin and I are, and scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And I will actually say out loud, if that is something that you are interested in, then you can visit Travel Agent Workshop. getaway.com for a 3-day free workshop that will give you all of the information. You can use either my sponsor code, which is Take the World, or Brenlin's sponsor code, which is Never Unpack. Either of those will hook you up with us, and we will be able to coach you through becoming a travel professional and being successful at it. I think that's it for me on the recap.
Yeah. And then you already hit information about our where you can follow us on social media, where you can join the business if you're interested in learning more. Next week we'll be talking about travel etiquette essentials. Kind of super excited about this topic and kind of what comes along with that. And that leads us into our affirmation for today.
All right. So we like to leave you with something to affirm yourself, something to just set down in your soul. You can repeat it today or for the next week until we meet again. But today's affirmation, and I want y'all to say it after me, is I reclaim my freedom. I live with intention. So say that.
I reclaim my freedom and I live with intention. Love it.
I love it. I love it. Thank y'all so much for joining us each and every Friday. Again, if you caught the replay or if you are still tuned in, drop in where you're tuning in from. Leave us some comments. Let's get this engagement up. And you know that you can check us out on each and every Friday, and we'll throw up our handles. Yeah. Thank y'all.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, y'all.